Hello everyone, welcome back to my additional math channel. For today's video teaching lesson, I will focus on the basic skills of differentiation and also the limit. So I will use the power rule and also chain rule to solve the differentiation problem. And I will discuss with you how to do the limit. So let's get started with the class. So for this question, you are given y equal to 2x minus 3 over x power 4 plus 5. So today we will discuss dy dx, or we can say find the derivative, or I can say differentiate y with respect to x. So in order to solve this question, we actually need to understand the term. Sometimes they will say find the gradient of tangent. It all means dy dx, okay? So the question can say find derivative, differentiate, or gradient of tangent to the curve. So all these are given the same meaning of finding dy dx. So the power rule say if y equal to ax power n, then dy dx will be n. Okay, you have to bring down the n, right? Times with the a, then x, then n minus 1, right? Okay, so the basic step is you must see the constant a with the x with the power. So example, the first term, we are having y equal to 2x1, and then the minus 3x negative 4, okay, plus 5x power 0. Alright, we need to have the shape of axn, which is so-called as a power form. So now we'll bring down the 1 times 2. Okay, 1 times 2, x, then 1 minus 1, then negative 4 times negative 3 will be the n times a, then the x minus 4 minus 1. Alright, then 0 times 5, x, 0 minus 1. So as you can see, when you do the differentiation, you have to follow the power rule. Step by step you do, and then you simplify to the simplest form. Alright, so that is so-called dy dx using power rule. So basically when you see the power is 1, it will become 0, you will go down one step. Negative 4, you become negative 5, and 0, you become negative 1. So you have 2x 0 plus 12x negative 5, and then 0 times anything also 0, right? So x power 0 is always 1, so 2 times 1, 2, and then 12 over x power 5. Remember, x power 0 is always 1. Alright, anything to the power of 0 is 1. Okay, even the love shape power 0 is also 1. So please remember that. Alright, so then you have to write your answer in fraction like this. So this is the final answer after you differentiate the y. So okay, I hope that you will always practice so that the differentiation skills is always with you. So we use a power rule to solve the differentiation. So now I will discuss another type of the function whereby we call as power, or we call as a chain rule. We use a chain rule when you see the power is quite high, so more than 2. If 2, you still can expand, or maybe less than 0, okay? So normally we will use a chain rule when you see the bracket and the power. Alright, so how to use a chain rule is actually quite easy. So you must know that when you do dy dx for the chain rule, you have to bring down the n times the ax plus b, and then n minus 1, and don't forget you have to differentiate ax plus b, and you will get a, right? So now I'm using chain rule, 4 times 5 minus x, 4 minus 1, and then I have to differentiate 5 minus x. So that is so-called chain rule. When you change something, you have two things, right? So again, I simplify and I differentiate 5, I get 0. I differentiate negative x, I will get negative 1, right? Alright, so don't forget to differentiate in the bracket. So finally, you have to simplify your answer into the simplest form like this. Negative 4 bracket 5 minus x to the power of 3. Alright, this is so-called chain rule. Alright. Okay, so if you keep on practice, then the skills of the differentiation will be with you. So when you want to apply in solving problem, it will become very easy, right? Be happy and try to practice consistently. Now let's see, this one is actually almost the same like just now. It's just that the power is you have to bring up the index, become negative 4. Then you will use a chain rule like just now, the same. Alright, so step 1, we use a formula of ax plus b to the power of n. If you differentiate, then you will have to bring the power n to in front, then copy ax plus b, then n minus 1, then don't forget to differentiate in the bracket. Alright, so now we are going to write negative 4, right, times the 2, right? So it will be 2 times negative 4. Okay, so then you have to bring down the power to in front. Okay, after you bring down the power to in front, you times with the 2, then you copy everything 3x minus 1, then the power you have to minus 1, become negative 5. And don't forget, you have to differentiate in the bracket. This is the step that people always forget. So now you just differentiate the 3x minus 1, alright? Then you will have to simplify to the simplest form. Okay, so now I just want to highlight to you, many students tend to forget the second part. Okay, differentiate in the bracket. Okay, so now if you differentiate 3x, you will get 3, right? You differentiate any number with x, you get that number. Example kx, you get k, right? So now we simplify, become negative 8 times 3x minus 1 to the power of negative 5. And then there is a 3 because we differentiate 3x minus 1. Okay, so now we just multiply the 3 to the negative 8, it becomes negative 24. Then bracket 3x minus 1 to the power of negative 5. So finally, you have to express your answer in fraction like this, so that the index negative 5 will going down, become positive. That is so-called the simplest answer, alright? Okay, don't forget to differentiate, alright, in the bracket one. Alright, so now I discuss limit. So many of you say you don't know how to do limit. Actually, limit is quite simple. You follow the step. So the first step is you have to factorize. Okay, factorize. So 3 n squared minus 4, right? So then n minus 2. Now after you factorize, you have to cancel the common factor. So we have to factorize until we can cancel out the denominator. So how you do is like this. You see your denominator is n minus 2, right? So I'm sure you want to cancel this one. So you can actually write n minus 2 on top. Then only you factorize. Remember, a squared minus b squared is a plus b. A minus b, right? So n squared minus 4 is n squared minus 2 squared. So it's n plus 2, n minus 2. So I cancel out the n minus 2. So finally, I will simplify the limit and approach to 3n plus 2. Then the third step is you substitute the 2 inside there. That's all. It's very simple, right? So when you substitute, you always be careful. You don't write the limit, you just substitute. So your answer is 3 times 2 plus 2, which is 4, right? Times 3. So answer is 12. 3 times 4 is 12, right? Okay, so that is how you solve the limit. Remember, the first step is factorize. After you factorize, you simplify, cancel the common factor. After that, you substitute the n into the simplest form. Alright, so again, I highlight to you. First step is you factorize, and then second step is you simplify. After you simplify, you substitute. So I make it short, I call as FSS, factorize, simplify, and substitute. Remember, when you do limit, always do the step FSS, factorize, simplify, and substitute. Alright, when substitute, please do not write the limit again. Okay, clear? So I'm going to discuss another question on limit, because many students say they've forgotten how to do limit. So okay, so I'm going to discuss a few limit questions so that you are fresh when come to limit question. Now let's do another one. So the answer for this one is 12. So finally you get a value for the limit. Alright, so let's discuss one more question on limit. So for this one, you see the limit is actually depends on the function. So when you see n approach infinity, not a number, so you have to make sure you convert the function into fraction, because with that only we can study the characteristic of the function when n approach infinity. So when n approach infinity, we would like to see the fraction. Alright, so in this case, you have to divide the terms one by one with the n. Okay, you divide by n, and after you divide by n, then you see there is 3 plus 7 over n, which is fraction, right? And then 2 plus 5 over n. So that is how you do limit when n approach infinity. So you have to remember the step. So when n approach infinity, you have to convert to fraction. Alright, so after that, then you can say when n approach a very big number, 7 over a very big number will be 0 off, will approach 0. Okay, 5 over a very big number, when n approach a very big number, 5 over a very big number will approach 0. That means 5 over n will be approaching 0, and 7 over n will be approaching 0. Hence, your answer for the limit, okay, the answer is just 3 over 2. So you get a value finally. Understand? So that is how you do for limit involving n or x approaches infinity. Alright? Alright, I'm going to discuss one more chain rule. So y equal to a, x plus b power n. So dy dx is equal to n. Alright? Remember, n have to bring down. Okay, so we write the n to the in front times ax plus b in the rectangle. Okay, this thing you just copy ax plus b, and then n you have to minus 1, and you differentiate the rectangle. Remember, the formula that I introduced to you is always copy the rectangle and differentiate the rectangle. Alright? Okay, so the rectangle is ax plus b. So then you have to differentiate the ax plus b. So, of course, when you differentiate ax plus b, you get a, right? So the formula will become very short. It become dy dx equal to ax plus b n minus 1, okay, times with the n. Okay, so there is a there is a n multiply ax plus b and minus 1. So this is a formula that you must memorize in order to solve the chain rule. Okay, so we are going to do chain rule for this one. So let's see how to do. So our formula is dy dx is equal to a and ax plus b and then n minus 1. Alright, I have written this one many times. I hope you can memorize. So it's an ax plus b n minus 1 is a is there. Alright, so now let's get started with this question. Y is equal to 2x minus 3 to the power of 5. So how you do dy dx? Let's see how. So okay, let's write dy dx is equal to 5 2x minus 3 5 minus 1. Don't forget you have to differentiate 2x minus 3, right? So finally the 2x minus 3, if you differentiate, you get, for differentiate of 2x you get 2, negative 3 you differentiate, you get 0. So it's 5 2x minus 3 4 times 2. Right, so finally you have to write your answer by multiply the two number 10 2x minus 3 to the power of 4. Alright, so this is the final answer using chain rule. So don't times the 10 into the bracket, alright? Okay, so for chain rule, always remember you change up something, there is always two things, right? So you copy the first one, then you have to differentiate the rectangle. There is always two rectangles you need to consider, alright? Don't forget the second rectangle, you need to differentiate. Okay, so that is a chain rule. So for chain rule, there are two things, two rectangles, remember? Okay, don't forget the second rectangle, you have to differentiate, alright? Okay. Now for differentiation, there is another type of question which many students cannot memorize, which is differentiate using the first principle. So for question like this, many students cannot do because they can't recall. So I'm going to introduce to you, there is a formula that I call as this formula, dy dx for the first principle, using the first principle. You can always use a method that I introduced to you. So you have to find the fx, and then you have to find the fx plus a love shape. Actually, the love shape is small changes in x, alright? But if you write small changes in x, you notice that it's very hard for you to write. So we call as love shape first. Later we replace with the small changes, delta x. So if fx plus love shape is x plus love shape is the object, right? So you multiply by 8 plus 3, follow the function. Okay, for the function, whatever as an object, you just put into the bracket, right? Then you simplify. Okay, then I will take 8x plus 8 love shape plus 3 minus out the fx, which is 8x plus 3, right? Make sure you put bracket for the minusing of 8x plus 3. So after that, you just simplify, okay? You just simplify, open up the bracket, minus 8x minus 3. Remember, there is a minus 8x minus 3. And then over the love shape, okay? Love shape is delta x, okay? How? Now you can cancel out the 1, 8x and minus 8x plus 3 minus 3, right? So finally, you got 8 love shape over love shape. Okay, so you are having 8. Now I just want to tell you the love shape is actually small changes in x. So we always write delta x, delta x. Alright, that is a concept that you need to know. It's a small changes of the x. So I replace the love shape with delta x, delta x, delta x. So next time, when you see the first principle, you just follow the method that I teach you. Then after that, you just replace the love shape with the delta x, and you simplify to the simplest form. So dy dx is equal to 8. So remember the formula I introduced to you is the function come with the x plus the delta x minus the fx over the delta x, because the delta x is the love shape. Alright? Okay? Understand? So this is so-called differentiation using the first principle. So I'm going to discuss one more challenging one involving quadratic. So it's the same, actually the method that I use is fx plus x plus love shape minus fx over the love shape. Alright, so the first principle is always like that. So let's memorize the method, then we convert to delta x for the love shape, right? So firstly, you copy the function and then function x plus love shape. So when you see x, you will replace by x plus love shape, x plus love shape for x. When it's square, you square, alright? Then you expand carefully, alright? Make sure you expand carefully. Now we need to expand carefully and simplify, and then we divide by the love shape. Now let's do it carefully. We need to be very, very careful when come to so many terms, right? Okay, so dy dx is equal to, now I'm going to expand. So let's see how. So for x plus love shape square, you should know how to expand. Okay, it's actually 4, alright, x square, right, plus 2x love shape of 2 love shape x, the same, plus love shape square, minus 7x minus 7 love shape plus 3, and then we have to minus out the function fx, alright, which actually we need to put a bracket, right, so that you, when you minus, you won't make careless mistake. So you have to minus out with a bracket for x square minus 7x plus 3. Alright, be careful. Alright, so now we have to divide by love shape, right? So now we need to be very, very careful when we simplify. So if you write delta x, you feel very, very confused. Like maybe you can put a note there, love shape is equal to delta x. So now we need to expand, so become 4x square, right? Plus 8 love shape x plus 4 love shape square minus 7x minus 7 love shape plus 3. Now need to be very careful when you expand because there are 3 terms. So you have to minus 4x square plus 7x minus 3 over the love shape. Alright, now you simplify to the simplest form, and then you will get the answer for the differentiation using the first principle. So now let's cancel out the one that we can cancel out. 4x square can cancel out. So left 8 love shape x plus 4 love shape square minus the 7 love shape, right? We have to minus the 7 love shape, okay, over the love shape, right? Okay, so let's do it carefully because careless mistakes tend to happen here if you are not careful enough. So don't overlook the minus 7 love shape there. Okay. So finally, we will simplify and then we will get the answer. Alright, so we will cancel out the love shape and love shape. So we get 8x minus 7. So that is how you do for using the first principle. Alright, so I think I need to discuss one more question so that you are aware how to use the first principle. Alright. So let's see, just now the question is actually we use a love shape, right? Finally, you have to replace the love shape with delta x, right? Okay, now I'm going to discuss one more. This one, y equal to 3x squared plus 8x minus 9. So let's see this one how to do. So using the first principle, okay, again I'm going to show you the formula that I use is I will take fx, which is actually the function itself, and I will take fx plus love shape, whereby when I see the x, I will replace the object with x plus love shape square plus 8x plus love shape minus 9, and then I need to expand carefully, right, before I can simplify. So always be careful when you simplify. So I will have dy dx is equal to fx plus the love shape minus fx over the love shape. Again, I highlight to you, the love shape is actually delta x, okay? Understand? So now we are going to take the fx plus the love shape minus the fx over the love shape. So let's do it carefully, and let's double check. Okay, when we do expansion, x squared plus 2x love shape plus the love shape square plus 8x plus 8 the love shape minus 9, and then minus the function. Be careful when you minus the function. Why? Because we are minusing 3 terms. Okay, so we need to be very careful, alright, when we minus 3 terms in the bracket over the love shape, which is the delta x. Alright, so now we will simplify until we get the answer. So you will get 3x squared plus 6x love shape plus 3 love shape square plus 8x plus the 8 love shape minus 9, and then you will have to minus 3x squared and minus 8x and plus 9. Alright, okay, so you have to divide by the love shape finally. Okay, so now let's do it carefully again, and then we will actually try to simplify as careful as possible. Alright, so now let's see, we can cancel out the terms. X squared, we can cancel out the the things that the same, like term 8x minus 8x. Finally, we have 6x love shape plus 3 love shape square plus 8 love shape over the love shape. So then we cancel out the common factor, which is dy dx equal to 6x love shape divided by love shape, you get 6x. 3 love shape square divided by love shape, you get 3 love shape plus 8 love shape over love shape, we get 8, right? So finally, as I say, love shape is delta x. So limit, we have to apply the limit when delta x approaches 0. Okay, for 6x plus 3 delta x plus 8. Then, so when delta x approaches 0, so the dy dx will be given you the answer 6x plus 8, right? So that is the concept of the limit for the first derivative using the first principle. Okay, remember the way to do is just use the formula that I introduced to you, and then after that you convert to the delta x. Okay, alright, maybe you can use pencil, then later you use a pen to write, to replace the love shape with delta x. Then after you expert, actually you don't have to write love shape because you actually can recall the formula that I introduced to you, because this formula, it won't be given in exam. So whenever the question asks the first principle, not many students can answer because they totally forgot the concept of the first principle. So I'm introduce you the shortcut that I think can help you to recall the skills of doing differentiation using the first principle. Alright, so that's all my sharing for today's differentiation class. I will share more skills with you if I'm free. Till then, I shall see you in my next video lesson. Bye bye and have a nice day.